Hey everybody, welcome back to some more early morning barking, talking about BPD and NPD by somebody that has both. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons and do all the socially things scrolling past you on the screen right now. In other news, I've recently been monetized and I've seen just how unmonetized some of my videos have been, and as a result, I'm going to swear a great deal less on some of these videos from now on, so that's going to be a thing. I am, however, going to do an extra video a week on my Patreon channel. I've just decided that right now, by the way, which will be full of swearing, no doubt, because at that point, who cares? Anyway, and there's a link in the description below for that, by the way. Anyway, I'm here to talk about disappointment, because it happens all the time. Like with everything, with so many things, with people, with events, with things we try to do, disappointment. This is both sides of the PD spectrum for me. I tend to get different reactions from things depending on the type of disappointment. Things like professional disappointment, romantic disappointments, that kind of thing will all hit heavily on the BPD side of things. Whereas the people side, the general stranger, the general rage, kind of, the rage it can't do anything, that tends to hit the NPD side of things. And as I've been thinking about this, I've remembered what I think is my earliest narc rage, or at least a very early one. And I was 10. I'm not sure if I've actually told this story before now I think about it, but whatever, you're coming for the ride with me again. I was 10, it was 1989, and the movie Ghostbusters 2 was out. And I loved Ghostbusters 2. I loved the first Ghostbusters, but the second one I loved as well, and I was 10, so I was more aware of it and that kind of thing. Now, in those days, every movie that came out had a computer game to go with it. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it felt like that, and a lot of films had a game to go with it. A lot of films don't lend themselves to that, of course. Never mind. You see my point. A lot did, and this one did, and that's the point. And in those days, the way you bought games was either to go to a shop, and they would have a copy of the game, and you would buy it. Some of you will be old enough to remember doing that. And another way to do it, and these were cheaper ways of doing it because, of course, stores have stores, right? They have staff and they have electric bills and all this stuff. And we didn't have the internet yet. That wasn't at home. It was 1989. But we had magazines. And magazines had adverts in them for mail order places. And you would either phone and call in an order, or you would send off a form, right? The ad would have a form that you would tear out of the magazine, and you'd fill that in, send that off, and a game would come back. I have no idea how that worked. Did we send cash? Did we send a check? I don't know. I didn't buy games by mail order when I was 10 because all that stuff. Nevertheless, I wanted the game of Ghostbusters 2, and it had been ordered on mail order. Now, I have no idea how long it actually took to turn up. Could have been weeks. Could have been a month and a half. I honestly have no clue. But I was so angry that that game didn't arrive. Oh my God. My parents must have been driven mad by it. I'm kind of surprised that my dad didn't cave and sort of just go and buy a copy of a game from the store. Right? Because when I think how I was, it was a nightly occurrence. And maybe my dad didn't cave to this because he wasn't home when it happened, right? Because every day I would get home from school. Has the game arrived? No. Rage. Every day. I remember one day writing a letter, sitting down at the dining table with my fountain pen and writing a letter, because it was 1989, to this company that was just abuse. I sat and wrote abuse as a 10-year-old. It called them names. I remember that it was just horrible. And I remember my dad having the talk with me afterwards about that's not how you talk to people. Apart from being horrible, it's not how you get results. I was supposed to learn that lesson then and grow out of that. But that's NPD for you, isn't it? I kind of carried that with me. And that behavior as a 10-year-old is eyebrow raising, but not the end of the world, right? I mean, that's being 10. And that's getting angry at stuff beyond your control. But I carried that forward and tended to do that a lot in real life. And I don't really do it anymore. I've not been defeated by this, right? I still have disappointments, and they are inevitable in life. They are, right? Whether you've got a personality disorder or not, you're going to have disappointments in life. And you can't rage at them. Because so many of them are beyond your control. And so many of them aren't the fault of an individual. And even when they may be the fault of an individual or an organization or a company or something like that, they're probably not the fault of the individual that you are personally dealing with. Right? That's especially important for like retail workers and people in drive-thrus. They're not doing anything. They're working in a drive-thru. Leave them alone. And we get just so angry at disappointment. Or so sad. We failed again. Of course it didn't come out. Of course it was for me. Of course it didn't happen. Or that anger on the narcissist side of, well, you've ruined it again. These idiots have ruined this thing again. There's so many ways. And the only way I found to deal with it properly is just this radical acceptance, right? I feel like I've kind of learned this lesson from video gaming. I don't know. Bear with me. Games just get harder, right? That's always been a feature of a game. The more you play it, the harder it gets. And sometimes a game will just throw something at you out of nowhere and nail you. And you have to rethink everything. But I don't get angry at the game, really. I'm not a rage quitter in gaming. I've never been that kind of thing. I've never been a controller thrower. Because the nature of it is that it does this to you. If you're going to get angry at games getting hard, you shouldn't be playing games because they get hard, right? That's a lesson it teaches you. Sometimes things just happen. And you can either throw the controller at the TV and break the TV and end up on Failblog and look like an idiot, or you start again, more determined, with this new knowledge of how it's going to change, and you change what your plans are accordingly. Isn't that like every disappointment? Look at what happened and reassess your approach to it. Important lessons from video gaming today, aren't they? Some patience and, I don't know, rethinking? What's the word for that? Rethinking. If what you've done has led to disappointment, then look at why and do something else. And the answer of dealing with that is rarely, if ever, shout at it until it goes away. I mean, that's more a narcissist thing again. But even on the BPD side, the reaction is, more often than not, for me, to just feel beaten. To just feel, oh, that, of course, yeah, why did I even bother trying, right? And you start to realize with that, as I've said many times, you can fail, you can be disappointed, you can get things not go your way, but it's only over until you decide it's over. So you have to have the wherewithal to stop curling up in a ball and instead stand up and try something again. But try it slightly differently. Don't do the same thing again and again, because that doesn't work. Right? We're back into definitions of madness here. Disappointment's such a, God, painful thing. Sometimes it just rolls over you, doesn't it? Like, this thing's wrong. Now this thing's wrong. Now my thing's broken and that thing's gone and I've lost my bank card, so all these things are fine. Oh, just, you know how that happens? And it's not because you are a bad person and deserve it or somebody's doing it to you. It just happens. And it's all right to recuperate a bit, but you've got to keep going. Got to keep swimming. You know? It's hard sometimes, but you can do it. You can just... It's like with anything else. Practicing that reaction. You will get lots of chances with this one, right? This isn't a unique sort of tricky circumstance to arrange. Wait a day or two. Some disappointment is coming your way. I guarantee it. But decide, when this comes, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to be calm. And my reaction to what happens is going to be considered. It's going to be thought out. And it's not going to be based on rage. And if there's a problem, I'll look for where that problem is and not blame somebody else, as frustrating as it may be. So prepare yourself for disappointment. It's coming soon. For all I know, it came to you shortly after you clicked play on this video. But it's coming again soon. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.